Hello, good morning. My name is Rex again, and for today, we will be talking about Brainard Occupational Preference Inventory. So, when it comes to the description of the test, or let's say BOPI, it is a standard questions designed to bring the four facts about a person with respect to his occupational interest. So, we'll be talking about yung interest ng tao when it comes to sa trabaho. Another one, the main purpose is to help intelligently and objectively discuss his occupational or educational plans. The Brainerd Occupational Preference Inventory permits a systematic study of a person's interest. And the inventory can be administered in about 30 minutes, and it is intended for students in grade 8 to 12 and adults. Caution. So meron tayong caution about the test. So do remember that this test requires a relatively low level of reading skills. So okay lang siya kahit hindi siya ganong kataas yung level ng reading comprehension niya. Hence, it may appropriately be used at lower educational levels than similar instruments which contain more difficult reading material. Another caution. Adults with limited educational backgrounds may also be able to react with greater understanding to the item of the inventory. So what are the components of BOPI? The Brainerd Occupational Preference Inventory yield scores in 6 broad occupational fields for each sex. So mamaya I will be discussing later the fields that we're talking about here. Both boys and girls obtain scores in the fields identified as commercial, mechanical, professional, aesthetic, and scientific. Each field contains 20 questions, divided equally among 4 occupational sections. The subject responds to each item by indicating whether he strongly dislikes the activity, dislike it, is neutral about it, likes it, or strongly likes it. Answers are marked on a separate answer sheet by drawing a line which indicates the choice of response. That's the components. And then, nagkameron din ng revision yung BOPI and the classification of the 140 questions into 28 sections turn into 7 occupational fields, which will be discussing later. Wording of items were made applicable to both sexes and for high school through adult ages. Grouping of items which conform in general to the code plan of the Dictionary of Occupational Titles and also to the large fields of interest proposed by Dr. Alfred Lawrence. So, yung item siya is conform in general to the code plan ng Dictionary of Occupational Titles. What else? In 1955 rather, Form A was reviewed and change in wording were made in few items. So when it comes to the fields that I'm talking about earlier, we have here the field and the item number. So meron tayong 7. Number 1 is yung commercial, mechanical, professional, aesthetic, scientific, personal, service for girls, and agricultural for boys. When it comes to items naman, yun nga, meron siyang 1 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, so on and so forth, hanggang sa 101 to 120. Let's talk about the reliability of the BOPI. The first reliability test was a test retest study in 1955 to the entire 10th grade in an academic high school in Yonkers in New York. The time interval between tests was 1 week. The test retest reliability coefficients of the 6 field scores are for each sex. Second reliability naman is study in which scores on odd and even items were correlated was based on 683 boys and 200 girls in grade 12. The odd-even correlation coefficients are corrected by Spearman-Brown formula. Both studies indicate that the reliabilities of the field scores are adequately high for most purposes to which these scores will be put. No data has been gathered to establish the effectiveness of the inventory scores as predictors of the success in a specific occupation. When it comes to scoring, the weights for the various response are 1 for SD, 2 for D, and 3 for N, 4 for L, and 5 for SL. Score each fields by assuming the appropriate weights for the given responses. Record the scores in the proper boxes at the top edge of the answer sheet. The lowest possible score for any fields is 20, meaning that the subject has marked the SD for each item. And lastly, the maximum score is 100, in which case every item has been marked through SL. I think that's all. I hope you've learned something about my report, even though it's short and it's fast. Thank you and have a great day.